fluff demonstration, the whole purpose for making the marshmallow fluff is because we're going to make a strawberry marshmallow pie. That pie is asking us for a jar of marshmallow cream, 7-ounce jar of it. So we could go to the store and purchase that convenience item, absolutely, or we could make it ourselves. So we can make some homemade marshmallow fluff. Our recipe posted in the Google Classroom has a 6-cup yield, and then I broke it down into a 2-cup yield. I'm going to make the 6-cup yield because this is actually, you can store this shelf stable for quite a long time. And we have other students that probably want to make this lab. So I'm going to make additional marshmallow fluff for them. So I'm going to work on the 6-cup homemade marshmallow fluff. In that, my mise en place has been prepared. Our recipe asks us for 1/3 cup of water that we have, right? It asks us for 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. I have that, and I actually ran it through a sifter really quick because it had some really hard crystals in it. And we're making marshmallow fluff, so you wouldn't want to have hard chunks of sugar in that. So we have our 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Corn syrup, check, 3/4 cup. Done. This is a light corn syrup, so it's clear in color. I even mise en placed a spatula so that we could scrape that sticky stuff out of here. There are life hacks with corn syrup. Well, you'll see people spray the inside of this liquid measuring cup with maybe cooking oil to get it to slip out really easy. That's an awesome hack. However, we're dealing with whipped egg whites today, and egg whites hate fat. So that hack is not to be done in this lab because we wouldn't want to destroy our bubbles in our marshmallow fluff. We want fluffy marshmallow fluff, so no oils get incorporated into this recipe. Egg whites, we're going to need 3 egg whites at room temperature. So I'm going to demonstrate separating egg whites for you, just so that you can get comfortable with that. You're always going to want to work with 2 different bowls, and you're always going to want to have a garbage next to you so that you can get rid of your yolks. Separating egg whites, you don't want, the best crack you can have is literally off of a flat counter. So I'm just going to give it a tap, tap, right? And then I turn and I use my thumbs like leverage. So my thumbs go onto the egg, and then I press my thumbs together like for the pressure, right? And I'm just gently gonna work my egg open, right? Until, oh, see, I got a spot now finally. I'm gonna gently work my egg open, and as soon as it starts to bust open, I just turn it right side up so that it stays in there, all right? And now I'm gonna use this little pouch here to hold my yolk so I can keep all my whites. Now, it's very, very, very important in this process that we do not let any of the fat in our yolk get into our egg whites. They often sometimes get called gold fat, but in that fat, in that yolk, will make it so our eggs don't fluff. So again, I used my thumbs as leverage. It's starting to pop open, so I'm just going to turn it right side up. Pass the yolk to the other side, just like that. No need to get my hands involved or use some other tool to have to clean, right? We're just good to go, right? Like that. You can pass it back and forth. And then your recipe, ooh, that one split weird, but that's all right. Like, who cares, right? We'll just use our thumbs and find ourselves a little bowl. All right, so that guy isn't working for me. There. My yolk broke, but I kept any fat from getting into there. So now our next step in our mise en place, we got our yolks ready. And I'm gonna just refresh my hands, all right? So Miss P can just strip her gloves. I'm still doing the same activity. So since I'm still doing the same task, literally making marshmallow fluff, that means I don't have to run and wash my hands again, all right? So now I'm re-gloved and I'm not gonna move any egg yolks around the kitchen or egg whites. I'm gonna set this aside for a different recipe. And now I have that prepped. My last thing here we gotta prep, we gotta work through our mise en place, is we have our cream of tartar, a half a teaspoon, and then it says your vanilla extract is optional. So I actually, you can even make marshmallow fluff with almond extract, and this dark color in vanilla extract can affect the bright whiteness of our marshmallow fluff. So you could choose almond extract to just keep it super bright white. You could buy or find a clear vanilla, which often has very coconutty tones to it. Or like I just did is I halvesied it just to reduce the coloring. I did half a teaspoon of vanilla and half a teaspoon of almond so that it's not quite so dark. Now it's telling me my very next direction is to get things in a mixing bowl. But I can't get too excited yet, you guys, because this mixing bowl is not prepared. You need your mixing bowl to be very, 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 very clean. And so who knows what happened in this bowl the last time it was used. Anytime you're gonna ever whip egg whites, you're gonna make sure and like rewash this bowl and your wire whip. Or I like to take a lemon. So actually this is just lemon juice on a paper towel. And I like to just swirl it around my bowl because that paper towel or lemon is gonna grab any excess oils that may be hanging out in this bowl. And the other thing about this lemon juice is that my egg whites, they really like it. They like it, it helps stabilize their little protein structures. Because when we are whipping egg whites, you guys, we are, well, picture curly hair, right? So a protein in your egg has, it has 10% protein and 90% water. And we're taking those little curly strands that look like a curly strand of hair, and we're kind of brushing them almost. And we're making those strands almost stack out so that they can kind of hold that any of that egg liquid. So now I have a prepped out bowl that I know has no fats in it, and I will have a successful execution of this recipe. This has some safety clips on it, so I'm going to go ahead and install it and clip it down in. And then I put on my wire whip. So this task, you could use a hand mixer, absolutely. You could use a wire whisk and do this by hand, or you can use the wire whip on a mechanical mixer like this. My directions say add my egg whites and my cream of tartar to the mixer and turn it on a high speed to get it to soft peaks. So there's different levels of peaks, right? Of firmness that that foam that we're creating can achieve. Get you down in there so you can see what's happening. Nope, that's not a good shot. There you go, they can see now. And then we're going to go ahead and turn it up. That cream of tartar in there is breaking up. It's a highly acidic powder. So for me, instinctually, this is where I kind of want to be adding my granulated sugar. I think I can see a white chunk of cream of tartar at the bottom here. So I just want to make sure I get it mixed in. So for me, this, when I make a meringue, this is where I'm going to add my granulated sugar. But my directions are telling me to wait. So I'm going to follow directions. So look at it, it's getting foamier, it's getting whiter, it's moving away from those yellow tones and the white tones. The bubbles are getting tighter and tighter together. And that's because we're, again, kind of foaming out those protein strands and making them kind of fluff out and grab onto that water. All right, well, this is happening. I'm just gonna slow this down so you can hear me. We're gonna step into our next step where I have to place my water, sugar, and corn syrup in a heavy bottom saucepan and get it all to dissolve and bring this up to 240 degrees. So while this is happening, we're gonna just pause this for half a second. We're gonna get our boiling water set. So we're gonna grab our corn syrup, our sugar, and just our 1/3 cup of water. So we're gonna make a very dense syrup, candy almost. In this here too, notice that it tells me that I'm gonna let it simmer until it dissolves and then bring it up to 240 degrees, right? But it's not saying to stir it a lot when things are coming up to the candy thermometer because the crystals will form and you don't want that. So let's go check out part of this marshmallow fluff process. We'll head over to our range. Sorry about that camera shot there. We'll head over to our range, which is all set up and awesome for us, right? Get our small saucepan out. I'm going to use a non-stick pan because I am dealing with syrups and candies, and they can give me trouble sometime. So we get out our saucepan. Like I said, I already mise en place on my spatula. I'm going to put my water in first, then my sugar, then turn on my flame. This stuff to dissolve. Now, for giggles, I'll just break out this candy thermometer that you guys can check out. We only need to get up to 240 degrees here, which your digital thermometers will work fine at. So boiling here in the Midwest is 212. We have a standard altitude boil. That syrup in. Use our magic spatula to get all of it. The reason I really like scratch marshmallow fluff, you guys, is it lacks a chemical flavor that comes in that grocery store marshmallow fluff sometimes. And, you know, it's something that my palate is sensitive to, but not everybody else's. So that's kind of why I prefer this marshmallow fluff. I think it's pure. It's how it's intended to taste. And awesome. So we got our candy thermometer. We can stand in here. We remember in food safety that any candy thermometer or any thermometer in our kitchens with a glass holder has to have a plastic sleeve on it. So this actually literally as well, over this mercury thermometer, has a plastic sleeve on it. We're up to 120 degrees already. And I'm gonna just go back and let my stuff start to get up to my peaks again. I'm gonna turn that back on. All right, and now we're multitasking. A non-stick pan here is not a requirement at all. It's just nice, all right? So now this is the place where I've got my sugar to dissolve, and it's time for me to stop stirring it a lot. We've climbed up to 180 degrees. We are climbing up to 210. All right, it's tempting. I want to stir it, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna let it make its chemical and sugar reactions for this candy process. We're up at 220, and we just have to achieve 240 before we come over to our mixer. Use our flame to get that temperature to climb. I'm over here looking at the mercury thermometer. I can see the red climbing, sitting at that 220, climbing up to 230. You can see the red there probably. We're trying to get that up to the 240. Making candy. Over here at our mixer, we've achieved a peak. We've achieved a nice peak. So our mixer was over here working away, multitasking. See how when I stand this up and jiggle it around, it stays put? That's beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted. So you guys, this is part of why even this is a shelf-stable product, because we are basically, when we add this sugar products, we're going to be cooking those egg whites. So this is how we're achieving that shelf-stable product that can be jarred up and kept for like 6 months. Because as long as we keep it airtight, we're all good. We finally got to 230. Not stirring. So tempting. I have a hard time on stirring candy. Now, temperature is super important when it comes to these types of processes. I even have like a Christmas fudge that if you don't boil it for the whole 5 minutes and get it to the right temperature, nothing good ever happens. Oh, here we go. We're climbing off of 230 and finally moving to 240. Yay! Look at, notice how things are less foamy. Good things have happened here. And we have finally achieved softball temperature of 240 degrees. So let's do it. Let's slowly add this to our mixer. So back over here, we can shut off our flame. Safely set aside our candy thermometer. And come back to our mixer. So like I said, we were working away in here and we let it get to its peaks, right? And now our job is to slowly add this sugar. But the trick is not to really let it hit our wire whip a lot. It'll just make this awesome candy cone that you don't really want. It'll be cool looking, but it won't work. So we turn our mixer back on. All right. And it tells us to turn our mixer on a medium low and very slowly pour in the sugar syrup in a thin, steady stream. Okay? So this is, I'm going to just be thin and steady. And it's kind of that sweet spot on the side, trying to kind of avoid our mixer pad, our whip. I don't want to go too fast and scramble eggs, right? Don't get impatient. Notice my bubbles are staying bubbles because I'm slow and steady wins the race. This is also the steps for something called foam icing. Homemade marshmallow fluff and foam icing, pretty much the same thing. And again, we're using egg whites, but because of this piping 220 degree sugar syrup here, basically we're cooking these egg whites right now. Slow and steady stream. Nothing crazy. Don't get impatient at the end and dump it in. Let me grab my spatula. All right. Now, you guys, you see all this spun sugar that's on the outside? You can feel this bowl. Oh my, it's like hot to the touch. Literally hot. The bowl is hot, hot to the touch. I'm not worried about this egg. In fact, for giggles, I'll even grab the thermometer, okay? But all this candy on the outside, you guys, it's hard now. So we don't want to add it to this. We're just going to let it be there. And now, here we are back here. We're going to, once all the syrup is in, set the mixer to medium high and continue whipping to thicken and fluff it up. All right. It's also going to cool this down. All right. So it's going to get extra glossy, extra awesome. And then this time, I can go ahead and get maybe like this thing soaking, right? So that's happening. And this said like 6 to 8 minutes. Okay. So it's 9:30, 9:27. So we're going to return, right? At least and check on this guy in another 6 minutes or so. So at about 9:33, that gives me time to run around, get this washing, get all my ingredients put away, and maybe set up some other mise en place that I have for my kitchen duties today, as far as preparation work. Okay, so if you could just give me a second, I will run and get this stuff in the dish room, and then we will contain our marshmallow fluff. I'll let you watch it because it's awesome. Look at it. It looks like marshmallow fluff. I just want to eat it. Now, I'm not going to forget my vanilla. Let's hang out right here. I'm going to turn this up faster because it seems to be getting stuck in the middle. Look at how much fluffier it is. It's only been about 3 minutes. My bowl is cooling off. Here's a nice place where I'm just going to go ahead and add the vanilla stuff. I'm desperate. Didn't change the color too much. I like that. I don't like it when the color gets changed a lot. Ooh, that smells great. Look at how glassy it is. Well, that mixer is 2, then let's talk about what we're going to put in it. So if your recipe calls for a 7-ounce portion of marshmallow fluff, well, this is a pint. That's too big. It's got a good lid. It's safe and secure, right? That would work. I like this because it's that 8-ounce portion, so that would work for me. A nice airtight jar, safe, right? Now this, though, this is a recycling container that we use a lot in class, but in the restaurant, you wouldn't be able to store your marshmallow fluff in a used cheese container. Your health inspector wouldn't allow that. So I just wanted to bring that up, that your containers need to be NSF approved, meant for containing food, and not reused plastic containers from other items. All right, we got another minute to go at least in our fluffing activities. All right, so check it out. So you can see the shine and the gloss on it. This is exactly what we want. I can't wait for you to make it at home and tell me what you think of the flavor. You can see it's sticky and awesome, just like we wanted, just like marshmallow fluff should be. All right, so I'm just going to contain this because tomorrow's plan is then to continue forward in our fresh strawberry pie by making our graham cracker crusts. So tomorrow's plan, graham cracker crusts for preparation.